Let's take a close look inside of one of these. Look at that, folks. Look at those layers. Isn't that gorgeous? Layer after layer after beautiful flaky layer. Buttery and absolutely incredible. That's a good biscuit. Oh yeah. Well, hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever it is for you. Hey, I'm getting ready to make my biscuit recipe, and I thought I would share it with you, so I just jerked out the camera real quick. So here it is. This is how I make biscuits. Now, let me hit you with some ingredients real quick. You got the flour, of course, that's 4 cups, and there's 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And there's right there that big clump of white. That is a lump of lard, and that's a 1/4 cup of lard. Down here I have 1/2 cup of butter, and it's cut into these nice little convenient tiny squares. So in other words, it was quartered this way and then cut into little pieces. And that just cuts down on how much work I do with this. And the whole idea there is I don't want my fat pieces to be too little. I don't want them to be half this size. That's too small. That's pea size. I want them to be about this big right here. Hold on. Oh, it's delicious. Okay. Anyway, butter needs to be in here. Now, so you'll know what's going on. I'm Stuart. This is my kitchen. I do a show called Texas Cooking Today, where I over-explain everything. It's true. This is called a pastry blender. You'll find these in all kinds of different sizes and styles. This one's 1,000,000 years old. It's the first one I ever bought. I have never had a need for another one. And I'm just cutting the fat right there, see? That cuts it into smaller pieces. That's all it does. And then those pieces get surrounded by flour, and then they take on a special task in the biscuit. So the whole idea here is, you know, the way a puff pastry is made, where you do layers of, you know, a dough and then butter and dough, butter, and they just roll it real thin by folding it, rolling it, and folding it and rolling it, and eventually get the right thing. Well, with biscuits it's similar but not identical. We want little clumps of fat that melt as the thing is cooking, and the dough that's created around those clumps of fat then get kind of lightly fried on both sides, and it bakes it in such a way that the biscuits become really flaky, and you're going to see what I mean. Okay, this is literally the best biscuit recipe I've ever made. By the way, if you would, click the subscribe button. Also, click the like button just down below the video. Hey, it doesn't take you but a second. Just click on it. And, you know, if you're using the television, if it's Roku or something like that, you just push that up button, and it puts you into the video menu. You can scroll right or left and click on whatever you like, and that helps me out a lot. Okay, so what I have here is a whole bunch of flour with some pretty big chunks of fat inside of it. I want to get the camera over here, point down inside of here, so you can kind of get an idea. Come over. Alrighty, now you get a chance to see the actual consistency here. Look at this. See those big clumps of fat? I can break that in half. So I've almost got it where it needs to be. It's really close. I'm just breaking down some of the bigger ones like that to make sure that they're not too enormous. You want big chunks but not ridiculous. And you don't want it pea-sized because that's too small. doesn't work out as well. See, I just pushed my fat back through these tines. By the way, you can do this with a whisk, like a French whisk. Just hit it dead on with it. So that's one way you can use other implements to make this work. So I use the same thing when I pour the milk in. Now that was 1.5 cups of milk. There you go. And here's the thing, what's more important than the ingredients list, what's most important is the way this is assembled, the way it's layered and reworked. And I want to show you that here in just a second. It makes a huge difference in how your biscuits come out, folks. I mean, huge difference. So we're gonna have a really good biscuit here in a minute. See what this is doing? So now if you want, you can wear like cooking gloves for this. That works fine. It's a little less messy on your hands. Some of us just like to get plain and raw with it, you know. This is just me cooking an any night meal for myself. Here we go. Now here's the thing. I do not want to knead this by hand a whole lot. That's a big no-no, all right? I don't want to heat the dough up. I want to keep it at the same temperature it is so that the fat pieces remain the way they are, okay? So that's the reason for minimal working. All right, I think we are there. I just need to get this with a little flour on it, and we're ready to roll this out. You can try to get the rest of this out if you want. It's not something you have to have, but it's a little extra. Never hurts to have, right? Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to assembling these, to make the dough into the biscuit dough, okay? What I need to do is to create a nice little rectangle as close to perfectly rectangular as I can. Okay, now that little roller is going to come in handy too. Because I want a uniform thickness to this. Now that's not really a perfect rectangle, is it? But you know what? It's good enough. I'm going to take this whole thing and quarter it. As you're seeing here, you don't have to be perfect with it, just rough quartering, okay? Boom, boom. Now, what am I doing here? What I'm doing is creating layers, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like we were talking just a minute ago about how you have, what am I trying to say here? Puff pastry dough that's really flaky and fluffy. That stuff is wonderful, all right? But the thing of it is, it's a lot of work to make that. Biscuits a whole lot less work, aren't they? So here I am making my little quasi-rectangle again. It's going to get rolled out. You may get a little butter on your roller. Don't let that bother you, okay? It's just part of baking, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this again. Now, the big question is how many times should I do it? How many times should it take for me to get a really good, nice layering? What? 3, 4, 5? You know, after you've done it once or twice, you're going to have a better idea as to how many times you want to take this and redo this. So we've done it, what, now twice? Look at that dough shrinking as I cut it. That's just that gluten doing its thing. Nothing wrong with gluten. Gluten is good. Gluten is the protein in the wheat, in case you're wondering. So what was that, 3 times? Or was it 4? I'm thinking it was just 3. I'm thinking I should do 4. It's getting much more firm. Some of that dough's coming off there. Don't let that bother you. Stuff like that happens. Just gently, and be kind of light on that flour. You don't want to get it too dry. Okay, so we'll do one more cut and roll out. So what do you think? Does this look interesting to you? Does it look like kind of a fun little thing? Let me show you something here. You look at the inside, you can see layers forming. The layers are there, folks. They're formed up, they're beautiful. Now we just gotta turn this into biscuits, right? Alrighty. So I'm just kind of trying to get those layers pressed really firmly together. There. The top on this is fairly moist feeling. It was the bottom just a minute ago. Very gently we roll this out. So what I'm looking for is roughly 3/4 of an inch. If you hit 1 inch, they're going to get too thick. 3/4 of an inch, man, it gives you a really, really good biscuit. Okay. Okay, now, here's the kicker. For a biscuit to rise the right way, it needs a cut edge. If it has one of these edges, that edge won't puff up properly, okay? What we need to do is to get everything, and I mean everything, a cut edge. That means it's going to have some stuff just cut off, you know? Like that. But we could deal with that in a minute. That's good stuff. So I'm going to cut the sides now. Alright. Just cutting straight down. Now you can do this with a round cutter if you want. If you want to use a, let's say a cookie cutter, or the glass you know, with a narrow rim. That'll work really well. Just make it a good, clean, straight cut. And it really, like I said, it truly changes the rising properties. Now I'm kind of looking down on this and trying to hit center with my shaky old hand. There we go. All right, so yeah, I make square biscuits. And I do it because, you know, I just kind of got used to this. I like it. I think it's like really cool. I think it looks cool once they're cooked. So this is what I do. All right, to the pan they go. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. You know, why not? Just leave them the way they are. Stick the two kind of together on the pan. And this is a doggy biscuit. That's what this is. This is a nice, well-proportioned doggy biscuit. You know, the dogs like their treats too. Okay, oven, 450 degrees. Bake these things up until they're golden brown. Now on that it's going to take on average about 10 to 15 minutes. So hey, enjoy, right? Putting them in the oven, 10 to 15 minutes. And by the way, that's 450 degrees, 10 to 15 minutes, to as golden brown as you want them. I like mine a little bit brown and crispy, like on bottom, and it makes for good treats. Yeah, making sausage gravy ain't that hard. This is a pound of sausage cooking up. Have a little over 1/8 of a cup of flour. And on the side over here is some heavy whipping cream. So what we're going to do is make sausage gravy. And now some people will use milk for this, some will use half and half. I like the heavy cream because there's extra butter in it and it just makes for a really rich, inviting dish. So when you're cooking this stuff up, it's going to want to stick together a little. Just break it apart as you go. Okay, not too hard to do. And get it all cooked so there's a little bit of browning going on. Once there is, I will then take the meat out, add some more fat, either olive oil or butter or sometimes both. I'll leave any fat from the sausage still in there. Some sausages release a lot of fat, others, like this one, not so much so. But there'll still be a little in there and there'll be some good flavor. Anything that sticks to the bottom of the pan is something that just makes the gravy that much better. Alright, this has been cooking for a bit and browning. I turn it every few minutes. Now look, I'm getting buildup on the bottom of the pan. I'm not going to scrape that off. I'm also getting the kind of browning that I'm looking for on some of the meat. Not all of it, just some of it. And right now I'm at that right point. So what I'm going to do is just drop the heat down, and I've been doing that on about a medium high temperature. All right. So what am I doing now? Getting the meat in a different pan and all that. Okay, now listen, some folks leave the meat right where it's at. They throw their flour right on in there, and they cook it up, and that's perfectly fine. But here's the thing, I'm not trying to thicken the meat, I'm trying to thicken a gravy. All right, and I just want to get the meat out of my way at the moment. All right, so add a little bit of olive oil, and I'm also going to put some butter in here. There's a little piece there. There we go. See that? Get that butter melted. And I'm going to do that over medium heat. As soon as that butter is fully melted, then I'm going to go ahead and put in the flour and get it whisked in and start making that roux. Now here's the thing, is I want enough fat in here so that the flour I put in doesn't turn into a thick pasty roux. That'll work. That kind of roux has been done for many years, and it's done to conserve fat. But in this case, I'm not trying to conserve fat. I'm trying to create something delicious. And so the whole idea here is, if there's more fat in there, instead of you having to slowly work liquids into a heavy paste that's a roux, you have something that is a little more malleable, we'll say. All right. That's my beeper for the biscuits. Take a look at those old boys. Oh, they're looking nice. So what's going to happen is this flour is going to sit here and foam up like it's doing now, you see, and that's going to cook it. I want to cook it till it's just a light tan color, kind of the color of maybe a peanut. Oh my goodness. This is what I'm talking about. Oops, look at that come apart. I was just trying to check that bottom crust. And they are, of course, yeah, it's perfect. Turn that oven off. That is gorgeous, folks. It took mine about 12 minutes this time. Alrighty, looky there. That is absolutely, totally delicious looking. Okie dokie. I have a nice brown color, a beautiful aroma from it. I'm going to pour in some of that heavy cream and just whisk everything together. It's going to take that fond off of the bottom of the pan. It's going to pick it up. It's going to be part of the flavor. And that's what we call 100% delicious. You know, when you're doing a wonderful item like this, having some really stellar biscuits, how can you go wrong with that, right? It's also great to serve this with other stuff, you know, like eggs maybe, or you can do maybe some applesauce, all kinds of delicious goodies you can think of. So you saw that thickening really quickly. The minute it started doing that, what did I do? I went ahead, added more gravy, or it should be more gravy, listen to me, more of the cream. And look at what's happening here. I don't have to fight this, all right? I didn't fight any part of it. And I've got this delicious gravy. Doesn't take much. See, I'm feeling a smooth bottom on the pan now. A few spots where there's still some stuff, but most of it is kicked loose. Now, here's another thing to remember about this. When I put this cooked sausage back down into this, some of that moisture is going to absorb into the sausage. That's just normal. and it's going to thicken the product. So having it slightly thin is a good thing, because in the end it won't be. There's a little bit better shot, nice close up, so you can see sort of the consistency I'm getting. It's soft, but also it's extremely hot, and that is going to have a tendency to firm up when it cools down. So also be prepared for that as well. You want your gravy to be really good to the very last bite when someone's enjoying it at your dinner table, all right? I'll end up adding just a slight bit more cream to this, and then I'll be putting in the pork. So we see thickening already there, see what I mean? And that's just been in the cooking, perfectly normal. There we go. Now, getting that nice smooth velvety texture. Yeah. Just a little bit more. So now you know how to do this. Please share this with your friends. They will be impressed. I guarantee you that. That's for the dogs right there. Gotta treat them good. They treat me good. Isn't that wonderful? There it is, folks. Sausage gravy. I'm gonna grab that first biscuit that just broke open for me. Look at this. Look at this beautiful color. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, there we go. Now, folks, in the South and here in Texas, this is what we like to call sausage gravy. And frankly, this stuff is incredibly good. If you've never had it, please try it. If you're like part of my UK audience, okay, look, now you know what it is. Biscuits and gravy. Biscuits aren't cookies for us. They're a whole different thing, much more like a scone. And that's just delicious. Okie dokie. This is what I'm talking about right here. Beautiful, flaky biscuits. Wonderful sausage gravy too. That's what I call comfort food. The biscuits are incredible. They're buttery, they're flaky. The flavor in them and the texture is so above average. All right, so give this a shot. You're gonna love it. Now this sausage gravy, the beautiful subtleness of it, simplicity of it, is delicious. Doesn't cost a whole lot, and I'll guarantee you, you're gonna have a happy family if you serve this. Folks, hey, thanks for watching. Hey, if you would please, as I asked before, please subscribe and click that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And if you could, also drop me a comment below. Do me a favor. Tell me what you think about these biscuits. Tell me what you think about this gravy. Let me know about the recipes. And tell me your favorite. That's what I want to know. So, thank you very much for watching, and please enjoy the other videos. There's some really good stuff on this channel.